What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Keane. Once again, big shout out to Philip for providing this catalog, as well as to all the folks who've been commenting on the way. And we're up to the title track of Perfect Symmetry from 2008. So I think I may even have mentioned a bit about that phrase when we began the album, but to speak of the song itself, or to hypothesize about the title, Perfect Symmetry certainly gives you a visual reference, the idea of something that has equal dimensions and characteristics and proportions, and thus in many ways is visually satisfying. Now don't get me wrong, asymmetry can also be visually compelling and greatly appreciated to an artistic eye, but obviously symmetry, there's just something about the way we like order and regularity, things that are mirrored and reflected on either side of some axis. It is appealing to, let's say, many brains. Maybe not every brain, maybe there are brains out there that don't like symmetry, but I think by and large, whether we're talking visual or indeed sonic symmetry, there is something pleasing about it because it has a certain degree of order and predictability to it. So I do wonder whether this is functioning like on an emotional level, like the same feelings on either side of a connection or situation, or action reaction in equal degree. So I wonder if it could function on multiple levels. Let's see what I can pick up on our first listen. This is Keane. The track is Perfect Symmetry from the album of the same name, 2008.
Shake through the wreckage for signs of life, scrolling through the paragraphs, clicking through the photographs. I wish I could make sense of what we do, burning down the capitals, the wisest of the animals. Page after page of analysis, looking for the final score. We're no closer than we were before. Who are you? What are you fighting for? Holy truth, brother, I choose this mortal life, lived in perfect symmetry. What I do
A stunning song. I'm not quite sure how to piece together all the lines I caught or parts of lines, but it's just an experience. Their music is so rich and lush, and Chaplin's voice, I mean, it's a secret weapon. He's one of those singers who can take a song that would already be good or maybe like middle of the road and just kick it up to another gear because his voice is so melodic and expressive, and he really can soar in a way that few singers can. So I think all of that is happening here. It has, again, very rich composition, some great keyboards, some strings, and a fair amount of energy as well. And Chaplin's voice, again, just pushes it higher, like quite literally in some sections, and also just because it's a very sonorous quality in his delivery. Lyrically, I'm less certain. Again, I caught a fair number of phrases and the idea of, he's like clicking through the pictures, scrolling through the articles, sort of reading through analyses, but then getting no closer to understanding than he was before, and saying, maybe heaven isn't waiting, and making reference to people in churches, but I think also on buses, and, seemingly like trying to understand and saying, the other person feels, and of course that could be a more general you, or it could be more narrow and specific, but I do think there is some of that perfect symmetry in terms of feeling, but I think also maybe it's the idea of, seeking perfect symmetry, seeking the idealized unity or balance or equality or something great on this side of a boundary, something great on the other side, but not really understanding it, not really knowing how it works or even if it is real. And so I think there's like a life trajectory attempt to understand, but knowing some of these things are bigger than us if they're there at all. Like, I think there's a lot of thought and speculation, but I don't know if there's any more clear answers here. Now, again, I didn't catch all the lines, maybe I'm missing some crucial detail, but yes, it feels like there's a lot of thoughtful lines, maybe fewer answers though than questions or wondering. So yes, another beautiful Keane song, and I do get why this one would be a title track. I do note the line about the needle going into the run-out groove, a turntable, a record statement or phrase, and what was the like worn-out phrases, the idea of certain sayings that we have that maybe don't have the meaning or aren't as authentic as they may have been in generations or years or earlier parts of life cycles past. But yes, the idea of a run-out groove, which is the groove at the end of a record so that the needle doesn't, go straight on to the label and, make a very unpleasant or intense sound, and it'll just go around and around and around till you stop the turntable. Now, there are actually records that have like locked grooves, which means like it'll just keep playing sound or music, and it'll, usually it's done like in time. So like if it's a house record, it'll just stay in the locked groove forever until you mix out of it. So those can be handy. Or, I remember a DJ who had a locked groove house record, and he was saying like it's his bathroom record. If he's playing like a 2-hour set, he'd put on a track with a locked groove. He could go take a break, come back, and then mix out of it. But yes, a run-out groove is the end of a record, so I feel like there's probably some metaphorical meaning there. But just an incredible tune, insanely lovely vocals, and I am really enjoying this deep dive. So thank you again to Phil, who initially presented them as a lucky dip, and it is now a full-blown journey. Let me know what you think of the tune, and Luca and I will see you next time. Peace.